Hello, I'm Joy Burns-Roger, and this is your Government in Action. Thank you for joining us. While speaking during his budget wrap-up in the House of Assembly on June 16, 2022, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, pointed out that whilst the Bahamas was finally moving in the right direction, times were still tough. Lifting the curfew, creating science-based COVID protocols, ending the emergency orders, reopening the economy, and finally, holding our festivals and regattas once again. These changes means that we are on the move. We're finally making progress. We're finally moving forward, and that's what this budget is all about, the way forward. Yantel Taylor has our lead story.
During his budget wrap-up, Prime Minister Davis said many Bahamians are back to work, but we have a lot more to do to make sure that everyone who wants to work can work. The nation's chief said that every Bahamian deserves to live a life of dignity and purpose.
We know what we need to do to make that aspiration real. We need to create more opportunities, empower more people, and we need to make sure people are educated and trained to take advantage of those opportunities. We need to strengthen tourism, and at the same time, grow and diversify our economy. We need to create stronger ladders to success. We need more Bahamians to participate in our economy as owners. We need to mentor and hold up our young people. And not just our young people. One of the most inspiring developments over the very tough last few years was the number of Bahamians of all ages who started new small businesses during the pandemic, taking lemons and making lemonade. Our people are making the most of their talents.
Prime Minister Davis noted that it had been said that leaders inspired the people, but he thought about it the other way around. The talents and tenacity of the Bahamian people were an enduring source of inspiration to him. Minister Davis said that the truth was that when one focuses on empowering people, everything else falls into place. He added that a growing economy, fiscal stability, and social change were achieved by prioritizing people-driven policies.
We will measure our success by measuring the impact we have on our people. The truth is, Madam Speaker, when you focus on empowering people, everything else falls into place. A growing economy, fiscal stability, and social change. These are achieved by prioritizing people-driven policies. That is why this budget was built on 3 pillars: providing relief, generating opportunity, and increasing security. Bahamians need relief so they can make ends meet. Lower prices at the cash register, increased wages for public servants, and increased social assistance are all major priorities in this budget. People cannot fulfill their potential if they cannot afford the basics. The impact of global inflation crisis must be addressed if we want people and our country to move forward. In respect to opportunity, we are empowering local entrepreneurs, diversifying the economy, and generating investments in key areas for future growth, laying the groundwork for a stronger, more inclusive economy. Building a more prosperous nation, lifting people up, these can only be done with new solutions. This budget includes new policies to move our country past merely talking about the orange, green, and blue and green economies. It's time to realize their promise. This budget also has a special emphasis on enabling home ownership with a variety of new policies that put the dream of home ownership within the reach of more Bahamians. Madam Speaker, these policies are the best way to ensure young Bahamians continue to build their lives and grow their families here at home. And security. Of course, security must be prioritized alongside relief and opportunity. Because when our neighborhoods are not safe, when our children are not safe, how can our communities and our people flourish? This budget is making increasing security a priority with new funding for increasing community policing, increasing the operational capacity of the police force, and attacking the root cause of crime.
For your government in action, I'm Yensel Taylor.
A total of $2.5 billion in investments, infrastructural upgrades to Family Island airports, and the increase in visitor arrivals were outlined by the Honorable Chester Cooper, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, in his 2022-2023 budget presentation on Wednesday, June 15, 2022. He said, in terms of investment, which goes hand in hand with tourism, we have already restructured the National Economic Council. This has already reaped significant results. He also revealed that the transformation of the Bahamas Investment Authority has begun, and the finished product will be called Invest Bahamas. It will be launched in September 2022.
But I want the Bahamian people to remember that this is a budget for the people. It is a budget about relief. And it's a budget about growth. It's about economic growth. It's about inspiring confidence and renewing optimism. It's about growing our economy, growing tourism, growing investments, growing aviation, and growing revenues so that we can meet our commitments and brace ourselves for future shocks and future possibilities.
The Minister of Tourism said the cruise market is also a critical focus for the ministry.
And when the new cruise port in Nassau is complete, we'll be able to host 6 of the world's largest ships at a time at the world-class port.
According to the Deputy Prime Minister, more than $300 million in upgrades are in progress and will be completed by the end of December 2022.
I've been very candid in how we want to drive the redevelopment of downtown Nassau so that it can become one of the best destination attractions in the region. We hope that this improvement can be contagious.
Regarding Grand Bahama, the Deputy Prime Minister outlined projects aimed at revitalizing that economy, namely the sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort, the development of Carnival Cruise Port, the revitalization of Port Lucayan Marketplace and Marina, a new Grand Bahama International Airport with return pre-clearance, significant airlift by Bahamas Air, Western Air, and other airline partners, and the sale of abandoned projects through tourism's shovel-ready initiative, to include Gin, Summer, Harcourt Properties, the International Bazaar, and Xanadu.
These initiatives will mean a significant number of tourist arrivals there. It will change the economic prospects for Grand Bahama for many years. The jobs and tourist receipts will have knock-on effects in countless ways in coming years. We're really just getting started for Grand Bahama, you know.
He shared that the plan is to continue to attract big investors to Grand Bahama, some of which are already in the pipeline.
The $500 million investment in the Grand Bahama shipyard, the sale of Equinor South Riding Point Terminal will bring significant boost to the industrial sector. Yes. Just as we done with the Carnival Port, we can get these out of the pipelines too.
The Deputy Prime Minister confirmed that in the Family Islands, new airports will be built in Exuma, including a 5,000-foot runway at Black Point, Naughty Luthra, Deadman's Key Long Island, and New Bight Cat Island. All of these airports will be facilitated through public-private partnerships. We will have more of your government in action when we return. Welcome back. During his budget communication, the Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, presented his ministry's healthcare transformative agenda for the upcoming budget year. Yentel Taylor has that report.
Minister Darville said that in the wake of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's announcement on the removal of the COVID-19 testing requirement for those inbound to the United States as of Monday, June 13, 2022. This is good news for the tourism sector and begs the question, when will the Bahamas follow suit and revisit the testing and mask mandate currently in place in our country?
These questions have been addressed by the EOC in my ministry, and I am pleased to report, inclusive of removal of the travel health visa on Sunday, the 19th of June, 2022, at 12:01 a.m., announced by the Deputy Prime Minister early this morning, effective June the 19th, 2022 at 12:01, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will also remove the testing requirements for all vaccinated persons entering the Bahamas. This decision is based on science and recommendations from both local and regional epidemiologists. The decision to remove the testing requirements at our borders for vaccinated persons is inconsistent with global recommendations. This decision is consistent with the U.S. CDC guidelines, which came into effect Monday of this week. This is good news, Deputy Prime Minister, for our tourism sector and the rebound of our local economy.
The health minister said that in the midst of this good news, the ministry is still faced with many other challenges and tough decisions that have to be made in the short term.
There's much work to be done, and I must say time is not on our side. Our hospitals and clinics should no longer be used as political football, because if the truth be said, there's evidence of unintentional neglect on both sides of the political divide. In this year's budget, my ministry will embark on a new journey to improve manpower resources, infrastructural upgrades, while focusing on reducing the incidence of non-communicable diseases and the cost burden associated with prevention and treatment. This would require, Leader of the Opposition, bipartisan support and an aggressive infrastructural upgrades to our hospital and clinics. Building new manpower resources both at the primary and tertiary healthcare levels to improve healthcare delivery system is absolutely necessary at this time.
For Your Government in Action, I'm Yentel Taylor.
The Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin, Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, informed the House of Assembly that funds have been budgeted for the construction of schools in Exuma and San Salvador. The revelation came as she made her budget contribution to the 2022-2023 budget debate on Monday, June 13th.
Create a furnace for the raw material which will inspire, ignite, liberate, empower, and fortify our young people. That is how my expectation of what our educational system will do for our young people. The factory is in this process is the classroom and the school. So I'm very pleased that in this fiscal year, funds have been budgeted for the construction of new schools in the country. Yes. This is, and of course, this happens in our collaboration with Ministry of Works. But we're going to build 2 new schools in this fiscal year. The first is San Salvador High School, which is expected to be completed in 2024. And the second is the Georgetown Primary School. They each well justified. Well justified. This ain't curry favoring. It's well justified. And the member for Exuma said they've been suffering for far too long. The school is inadequate. And San Salvador has serious issues. And so those two schools, additionally, and they're estimated about $16 million each. So I'm excited about that. Additionally, we will see finally the completion of ongoing new school projects, most of which were unbelievably stalled or abandoned by the prior administration, and I don't know why. Probably because we put our hand on it, I don't know. The Staniel Key Comprehensive School, we're hoping to finish that by August of 2022 at a cost of $1.9 million. Holmes Rock Junior High, we expect that to be finished in September. Finally! I was there, we broke ground, my hair was I was 10 pounds lighter. Okay, we'll make that 15 pounds. Low Sound Primary, we expect that to finish September 2023. Additionally, at Arthurstown High, Cat Island, we're building a 3-classroom block in the summer. And then Cooperstown Primary, Abaco, we're going to do a classroom block. Remember, we were looking for a location to do that, member for North Abaco. And at Emma Cooper Primary, we're going to complete an unfinished classroom block that was just sitting there for years. We're also finalizing plans for the construction of several classroom blocks and an administration building at the Harbor Island Comprehensive School. And then for the member from Eastern, how much time I got? It's 37 minutes to preach. I ain't calling Exuma no more, so you know. In the 2023-24 years, we want to get to complete the East End Grand Bahama and the Inagua Comprehensive School. So those are up next.
Welcome back. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, says his plans for breaking ground for the new state-of-the-art hospital in Grand Bahama by the end of this fiscal period was hampered because of land issues. During the press conference at the Ministry of Grand Bahama on Friday, June 17, 2022, for the $1.6 million contract signing for the renovation of the morgue at the Rand Memorial Hospital, the Prime Minister noted that the government had to seek out other land on which to construct the proposed new hospital.
And with the stroke of a pen, it's officially a done deal. The Public Hospitals Authority signed a contract with Pinnacle Construction for the redevelopment of the morgue at the Rand Memorial Hospital on Grand Bahama, which officials say has been in a severe state of disrepair for some years now. Health Minister Dr. the Honorable Michael Darville, while noting that there is a lot of work to be done, says the Davis administration is committed to improving the island's healthcare facilities, and this signing is a significant step to the full restoration of healthcare on Grand Bahama.
We are committed to improving healthcare infrastructure on the island, and that is inclusive from West End all the way to Sweetens Key. The contract we are executing today will allow for the renovation and expansion work of the existing morgue, which will improve the services at the morgue and also do some additional renovations. This new infrastructure would allow us to be more efficient, we will provide better services, and we will expand the areas necessary to do autopsies, and our staff will not be compromised. Morgue services are vital to the operation of any hospital. They involve the management of receipt, storage, and release of our loved ones. It has to be done safely, It has to be done effectively, and it has to be done in a certain time limit. A hospital morgue generally performs 5 functions. 1, the receipt of our loved ones. 2, performing postmortem examinations. 3, examining these findings, sometimes in a teaching environment with our interns as well as medical students. 4, reviewing the body of our loved ones. And 5, being able to accommodate family members during that process. The existing structure of the RAN and the morgue is severely compromised. I want to say that again. It is severely compromised.
The contract, valued at $1.6 million, follows what has been described as a robust tender process. Works will include the redevelopment of the morgue here at the RAND and improvements to the corridors and other areas. Works will be completed by the end of the year.
The execution of this contract today means that Grand Bahama can expect in approximately 6 to 7 months a modern facility, so that if we have to identify our loved ones, if we need to do autopsies, if we have an emergency of any kind where there is any issues on Grand Bahama in our industrial sector and something happened, God forbid, we will be in a better position to deal with it.
For Your Government in Action, I'm Tammy Dean.
While giving a summary of her contribution to the 2022-2023 budget debate, Minister Colby Davis relayed the initiatives that her ministry has in the Family Islands.
We have some projects that have started in Abaco, in Grand Bahama, and then we're going to be moving into Eleuthera and looking at land in Andros, Bimini, and Exuma. And so that's exciting for housing.
She pointed out the work being done in Abaco and Eleuthera by her ministry, noting especially the start of its public-private partnership in the Central Pines Abaco area, where they are building 30 homes, with 10 of them already up to blocks.
They're getting ready to do bell course and put the roofing on, and then we're going to proceed with the other rest of those homes. We're doing the grounds to begin the foundations for the other homes. We also have infrastructure work going on in Spring City, and Spring City is also where the portion of the Dome City is in Abaco. So we've been preparing to advise those residents in the domes that we will be assisting them to relocate, because the domes were just temporary. They're not safe to continue living in, and so we want to be able to use that land and also build some affordable homes on that and be able to assist persons. What we spoke of that's really exciting, though, is our rent-to-own initiative that will be coming on stream. We have an advisory council that will be appointed shortly, and their names will be announced shortly. And we will be doing a pilot of the rent-to-own in the Family Islands and also in New Providence with some of the areas that we are now developing. As it relates to Eleuthera, this is exciting because Eleuthera has never had an actual affordable home program by the government. They did have the lots, the purchase of a lots from Department of Housing, but they never actually had it built. And so we're excited to go down there and provide affordable housing options that expand well beyond just purchasing lots and giving young professionals that access that they've been requesting. And so in Eleuthera, you will see a lot happening in the next couple of weeks, because we're going to go down, break ground on the Ocean Hole site, where we will be starting our first portion of our housing project. And then we'll also be creating an office down there, because we need to make sure that we have a team down there on the ground to assist as we move forward in the development of those housing properties. Also, we partnered with BAIC. They just transferred some more property to the Department of Housing, and we're going to share and do a partner hybrid program where we will sell some lots and then we will build some affordable homes in Eleuthera on the property that they just gifted to the Department of Housing.
She also spoke of what her ministry is doing on Andros, making use of the large amount of land on the largest island in the Bahamas.
Andros, we have a lot of land there, and what we also try to do in the Department of Housing is balance the land and the affordable programs to also having persons that can qualify and become homeowners. And so what we're getting ready to plan in Andros is a housing fair where we'll be able to speak to many of the persons who are interested in becoming homeowners and get some information from them so that we can put them inside of the bracket of which they fall. When we do our housing fair, we take Bahamas Mortgage Corp with us because they would be able to calculate and tell persons how much they can qualify for, and that's how we're able to see how many persons would be able to purchase the home after we've built them. And so that's what we'll be doing in Andros, both North and South Andros and Central. And once we've completed that, then we'll begin designing the program to affordable housing. So it'll be a hybrid as well, because I know some persons in the Family Islands still like to build their own homes, and so it'll definitely be a hybrid model in Andros just as well as it is in the other Family Islands.
Minister Colby Davis summed up her ministry's plans for persons seeking homes in the Family Islands in very encouraging terms.
So it's going to be exciting days for the Family Islands, because I think many of them always saw affordable home programs by governments as Nassau-centric. And I spoke to that quite a lot in my budget, that I make sure that persons understand that the Family Islands is really a part of the plan, and we're strongly pushing towards making sure that we transfer those dreams into realities.
Also speaking with our team about his recent budget communication was Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Mario Boleg, who spoke about the impact his ministry expects to have in the coming fiscal year.
First of all, once I got the appointment to sit in that chair, I understand that the most important assets of a country for the future development is your youths. And so I would have, everything we did focus on empowering the youths. And so when you look at the youth element of my ministry, you know, we have programs in there that address at-risk youths or youths that would have were marginalized or for some reason just failed in their high school career. And we've had programs that allow them to get that second chance, you know, that fresh start, to give them a whole new mindset, you know, to be able to be employable and gain the necessary skills that would make them employable. And then we also know what the impact that sports can do for a country, how it displays discipline, you know, molds characters of individuals. And you look at myself and other members of who are in Parliament and or even former leaders of this country, you can all see that they all would have, sports would have played an important role in the development of their character of who they are today. And you know, of course, the culture is identify who we are as a people. It helps us to identify from whence we came and where we are today. And the part of that we must preserve and you know, so for identity for the future youths coming. And so when you look at my budget speech, we look at 10% increase across the board for all those youth organizations, understanding that they are an extended arm of the ministry that helps divert kids from the life of crime and help mold the characters of those individuals. You know, the only way, again, I could say our future can remain bright if we continue to empower and invest inside our youths.
And that is all for this week. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joy Burns-Roger. Good evening.